You're listening to Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission.
We're your hosts, Brandie and Natalie. All right, hey ladies, we are back for another episode of Rise to Your Purpose. And today I'm here with a really awesome woman named Christina Reynolds. And we had the chance to connect through Facebook, like I think most people are connecting these days. And she's just been amazing to get to know, get to hear her story. So I asked her, I said, you have to be on our podcast. I think you'll inspire so many women. And she is also an entrepreneur and just a mom, not just a mom, and a mom. And really just doing a lot though, following her purpose and passions. And so she's perfect for this podcast. And she's the creator and the founder of Mom on the Climb and Mom on the Climb Tribe. So I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit better for you guys, and then we'll just kind of dive into it. Go ahead, Christina.
Oh, well, thanks, Natalie. I am so excited to be here. Well, like you said, I am a mom of 4 and a wife. And so that's kind of what I view as, my most important mission right now is raising these humans that I've brought into the world and trying to do whatever I can to make them, productive members of society instead of going the other way. So that I would say is my biggest, focus and mission. And through that, my youngest son, Caden, was born with some complications. And so through that journey, I have built a support system for myself, and it kind of turned into a following by accident almost. Everybody just loved the space and the atmosphere of what I was creating, because it was just what I needed. And I knew that if I needed it, other moms probably needed it too. And so it kind of just blossomed. And so Mom on the Climb is a blog and a space, and Mom on the Climb Tribe is really our community where we come as we are, and we leave more elevated than we came in, with support from each other and our experiences and our resources. And it's just such a beautiful spot to see everybody coming from so many different places and using those experiences. And so I still really like that part of, when you and I chatted a few days ago, I really love that part of still like telling this is where we've been and this is where we started, and here's the hope, because here's where I'm at now. Here's what I'm jamming with, and here is what's been kind of envisioned to me, that I'm just following the path and I'm super excited about. So
yeah, I love that. And I was wondering if you would be willing to go into a little bit of that journey, and I know talking about like complications with your son, Caden, and medically, and it's really, it really has changed your guys' life. And I had the opportunity to see him, and he's just such a sweet, cute little boy. But it's been amazing just to hear your story of how through something that could just seem like to derail everything, you've really been able to, and probably felt like for a moment that life was all in chaos. And so I would love to hear a little bit of your journey and how you're able to kind of, because I think a lot of women, no matter whether it's with a child or maybe relationship struggles or just financial or business, like there's so many things that I think can totally throw us off guard and can derail us in so many ways. And so if you could kind of share a little bit about that journey, if you don't mind, and then kind of, I think from there to really hear how you're able to shift and take that, that part to actually kind of, like you said, create a message and a mission from there.
Yeah. So, that was never the intention to begin with. It really touched when you said, that there's probably that moment where everything seems shattered. And I think that's what I really like to come back to. And it humbles me, is that moment of hearing the diagnosis. hearing, we went in for our 20-week ultrasound. We were holding hands, like, is it a girl? I think it's a girl. We want a girl. And, finding out it's a boy. And we're like, oh, well, that's odd. Like my intuition was way off. And then we got news that there was an extreme complication, that it appears that his internal organs were growing in a sac outside of his body. And often with that diagnosis is heart and lung issues. Often the babies don't make it full term. And if they do, they pass right after birth. And so obviously it was this isn't what we wanted. We wanted a healthy baby. And I'm not the type of person that can handle this, I can't do NICU life. I have an older son who is already battling a rare cancer, and he was going to be starting chemotherapy that fall because everything we had tried holistically hadn't been progressing for him yet and shrinking that tumor. And so I was like, there's no way I can handle a kid on chemo and a baby in the NICU. Like that's not me. And I really like to remind myself of that. It both humbles me and inspires me to keep going, because I remember that place of like, there's no way I can handle that kind of stress and pressure. Like I have addiction issues in my past. I have mental illness issues. Like I could legitimately end up in a mental hospital. I cannot, I'm not one of those moms that is going to rise to the occasion and do what it takes, and I honestly believed that. And we were given a choice. We had to choose, do you want to continue this pregnancy and see where it goes? Or do you want to terminate? And my husband and I decided that we wanted to fight with him as long as he could fight. And that was, really strong in our hearts, and what we, personally believed to be, morally right for our situation. And so that's what we did. And so when he was born, it was a big shock. NICU life is like, it's upside down and backwards and inside out. And it's like, everything feels wrong, even time. It feels like you're in some kind of parallel universe, and everything just feels wrong. And so it was definitely not this idea of oh, I just rose to the occasion and built this awesome tribe. It was like, I was lost and broken and didn't even know what I believed in for a long time. My faith was shattered. This idea that there was, a God out there that was both all loving and all powerful and had my back was just lost. It was I don't even know what I believe anymore. Everything that I thought to be true is gone and I'm crushed. And so it was really this progressive journey of getting to almost a breaking point. And I remember the moment where all of this changed for me, and I was sitting on a NICU hospital hallway floor, which now I'm like, oh, gross. But at the time, I was a hot mess and I didn't care. And so I was on my phone messaging out. There's a small group of moms that I could connect with. The rest of the media was too overwhelming. I was detoxed. I was shut off unless I was going on to give an update about Caden to all the people who were following this journey. And so I messaged them, and I think I was ranting about the doctors or, something, the doctors this and the doctors that. And one of these women spoke truth into my life that day. And she said, Christina, no doctor or medical staff is going to want to work collaboratively with the crazy person. It is clear that you're speaking sporadically, and you can tell you're not eating and you're not sleeping, and how is your self-care? And all the time, people, social workers, nurses, everyone's like, what are you doing for you? And that question when you're in survival mode is so annoying. And you're like, I don't even care, And so it was really this evolution of getting to a point where I was so broken that what I was doing was not working and not sustainable. And I needed to be normal that was sustainable. And so I was actually mad at this mom who told me that day and stopped speaking to her for a while, but it was more her method than what she said to me. And so I actually took a step back and thought about the words that she said and not the way that it came out. And it was like a light bulb went off, like, oh, like I can't advocate for my child if I'm emotionally a wreck and if I'm not sleeping and I'm not eating and I'm not hydrated, like the brain is like 83% water or something. And if you're not hydrated, like you literally are not functioning properly. And so it was kind of this like smack moment to me. And so there's 4 moms in this message chat with me. And so I have a thing about the power of 4, but there's 4 moms in this group, and that mom spoke truth. And the other mom said, if you're willing to make a change, my husband is a life coach and you can get, that step-by-step help. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to do something different. And that, I think that was really the pivoting point for me when I got support, I got help. And the things I was thinking about doing, like starting a blog and starting my own Facebook page or my own Facebook group where the rest of media wasn't overwhelming, those things were all validated. And the calling that was kind of in my heart and the things that I was wanting to return to spiritually were all, it was like I had somebody to process that with, and exercises to figure out like, well, what do I believe? And what are my beliefs that need to be broken down right now? And that process was just super transformative. And so, back to the journey thing, that the baby steps of, one little step at a time will get you to where you're going. And that was really, it was really indicative of our entire NICU journey, but also my own personal wellness journey, and coming to a place of acceptance that I can start something like a group or a blog while I'm still in the chaos of my life, and get support and bring people with me on this journey and kind of grow together and use our experiences and our expertise and the things that we know to strengthen and uplift each other. And so I basically became, obsessed with building that ecosystem, which we now have today, which is beautiful. So that was a long version. Hopefully answered your question though.
No, I think that's wonderful, because that's really what I wanted them, because your story and the power of that transformation really comes through you kind of sharing where you were and where you are now. And I love, like, I just kind of even jotted down some things. I think there's lessons to be learned from what I pull and gather from that is like get support, like realize that you don't have to do it alone and that you're not in it alone, but be willing to advocate not only for, in this instance, it was your child, but to advocate for yourself. And I think so often as like women and moms, it's easy to put ourselves on the back burner or to try and put everyone else's needs first, but then having that realization that, no, I do need to take care of myself, like you said, so I can be at my optimal level and state to be able to do what's best then for the people I'm taking care of. And so getting support through like a life coach or the community, and you took action. So, and I like what you said, like at first too, you were kind of upset by what you heard. And I think that's hard for us to all take any type of criticism or, somewhat, most of the time we think when we're going to talk to our friends or talk to people, they're going to let us go ahead and like complain or whine, and they like
validation for that. Yeah. And not call us out. Yeah.
And we need right? We need those friends that are going to let us just go be someone that we can cry on their shoulder and will understand. But I love how you said you had like a group of 4, and there is that good though to have someone in your corner that can also, like you said, speak truth to you and still affirm you in some ways, but also say, look, like here's some changes we can probably be making. And so just having that awareness. I was interested if you wanted to share like what you said, you have a thing about a power of 4. Like, do you want to share like what that is, or if there's any more meaning to that?
Sure. So through that, I decided that was like a power number. Like if you are in an accountability group and you want to lose weight, like getting a challenge group with 1,000 other people, awesome. You'll probably get some great resources, but you can also hide. And I really love one-on-ones as well as two-on-ones, but I found that in prayer groups, in accountability groups, in in whatever you're dealing with, 4 is kind of a number where it's not so big that you get lost and you're allowed to disappear. But it's not so small that it's just the two of you. There's enough variation in your experiences where somebody is almost always available to you. You're not depending on one person, that you're like either sucking the life out of them with your issues because it's heavy, or all you have to draw on is their experience. You have 4 people that can say, well, I've been here and been here. And that's the thing about this group for me. Part of the story that I left out was that at about 4.5 months old, we were told that if we wanted him to live, our baby in the NICU, if we wanted him to live, we needed to transfer to a hospital that had more capabilities, like he needed a lymphangiogram, and he needed surgeons that specialized in umbilical and pulmonary specialists and all of those things. And so we up and moved to Colorado over winter break, took our kids out of school, put them in school here, our older kids. And we left our friends, our family, everybody. And so when I got here, it was so isolating. And through a Facebook group that I ended up taking a hiatus from because it was overwhelming, but through that, I met these amazing women, and all 4 of them had been through that hospital, through that NICU with those doctors. And they had something that I wanted because all their kids were home. They were sending me pictures of their toddlers walking around trached and on a ventilator. And it was like, I'm going to cry just thinking about remembering that hope that like, okay, we might leave the hospital someday. That could be us, And so in the moments where I'm thinking like, oh, I don't need to share our journey. I am getting emotional. When I think I don't need to share our journey, nobody needs to hear what I have to say. I remember being in that hospital room and taking so much value from those moms that were just willing to share a video and say, look at my kid eating, look at my kid breathing off of a vent. Like that was everything for us. And so I was not planning on crying. And so I kind of aspire to be that person that has the resources, because that's another thing that I loved, is that they weren't just a listening ear. They were like, oh, well, have you asked your resources about IHSS? Have you done this? Did you know that the charge nurses can get this for you? Build up your primary team. Like they had done all this before. And it was like, you only know what you know, I always say, right? And so it was like, I was mind blown at what they knew because they had been through that. And so then again, in the moments where I'm doubting myself today, right now, doing what I'm doing, thinking, well, yeah, I know how to survive the NICU experience, like a rock star, but like, it's not really like valuable or marketable information. And then it's like, I would have given my left hand while we were in the NICU if somebody would have said, I'll hand you a guide for how to get through this, with your sanity and with health and with the love of your husband still, and with the support. And like, I seriously would have given anything to have that. And so those are also the moments of like remembering my previous self and like what I so wanted. And so I aim to be that person that has the resources, that can be the listening ear, but can also elevate you to a new spot because of just sharing the journey. They, like none of them were, business people or like trying to build a business and they wanted me as a customer. Like they were just paying it forward because that's what people had done for them. And so when I partner with a few companies. One of them is Amare, and we're the mental wellness company. And I set a lady up with it today for her kids. And well, actually, she got 2 products for herself as well as for her kids. And so she was super, super excited. And she said, Christina, thank you. This is like, I've read the testimonials. I've read the science. I know this is going to change my life and the life of my kids. Like, thank you. And it was like, that is what I aim for, because that's what somebody did for me. It's literally just paying it forward and not holding on to it yourself. And so that's kind of why I evolved into wanting to be an entrepreneur from just momming and then medical mom and then blogging. And then it's like, okay, well, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Well, one, I have kids at home, one of which is still extremely complex. We brought Caden home from the hospital, trached on a ventilator, tube fed on over a dozen pharmaceuticals. Like, the kid is complex, but brilliant and so funny and so sweet. And being home with him has just been magical, but also a journey in and of itself, learning how to care for a child like that at home, not just physically, but how do you raise a child like that? When they're throwing a tantrum. Our other kids, we would have like put them in timeout and been like, see ya, let me know when you change your attitude. I'll come check on you in 4 minutes if you're 4 years old. But, for Caden, it's like, it's a whole different ballgame. And so I think I got off on another tangent there, but that power of four I actually put into play in my tribe as well. My four mamas that I kind of took on, and we built this town together. And it's actually named in my messenger, Power of Four. And so I also have future clan ideas that I'm putting into place within that tribe community for various things. And so I won't get into that too much right now, but Power 4 has been impactful, and I think will continue to be for some people because, well, paying it forward,
Definitely. I love how you explain that, because I know, like, in our Rise to Your Purpose program, we have purpose partner pods. So we really want it, if it doesn't always work out, but we really try and have at least be 3 or more, because for those reasons, because that way you're not relying just on one person, but you can kind of get a mixture and really have that collaboration and support. So I love that, and how you explained that. And like you said, just being able to, like, we hear that tagline a lot, like turning your mess into a message. And I feel like you've taken something, and instead of keeping your knowledge to yourself, like, this is something I feel like you're like a poster child for rising to your purpose, because I think if you start out feeling that way, like, well, what do I have to offer? What value can I give? And, we're all in the entrepreneurial space. And so not realizing that these life situations that you're actually going through or have gone through can turn into a business for you, or can turn into a way to actually serve the masses. And so I love that you're doing that, but also, right, your intention is just to simply pay it forward and to help other people. So we're not going into it with this full agenda, but we're really letting God, like, take us where he wants us to go, and being obedient to that, but also kind of you have to take action somewhere and step forward in that faith. And so I love that you're doing that, and that you're taking that knowledge, and you're going to be able to help so many other women. I'm thinking that too. I'm like, I'm always about mentorship or getting help from someone who's already been there. It's like, why try and sit there and figure it out on your own, and just it's like staring at a math problem in like algebra 2 or something that you're like, I have no idea how to do this. Like, why would you not ask for help? So I think that's so awesome that you have this community, and you have these resources that will be coming that are going to really help serve those moms, and also show, like, the possibility, like you said, you partnered with a couple of companies that fit so well with your brand. So you're like branding you and branding your message and how you can really help other people, but you're able to partner then on the back end with solutions for people. And so that's the power of definitely like that branding. And so I just love that. I don't know if you want to add anything else to that or not.
Well, I think that's just why, people are like, well, what are you? Are you a marketer? Are you in sales? Are you an entrepreneur? Like, what are you? And I'm like, well, I just like to think of myself as like a networker in life enhancement. Like, I want to help enhance your life. And I know of resources, and I know a bunch of people and programs and products that can do that. And so it's almost like matchmaking, and it gets me like a little bit giddy. It's almost like, oh, I know that you can connect with this person, and hey, have you been to this group yet? And the thing is that I remember what group I met people in. One of my dear friends now, her name is Jen. And we have gotten so close that I met her in the group Boss Moms. And I don't know why I remember that, but I will forever remember that I met her in this group. And so I like to be that person. It's like, oh, connect you with you, and you need this. And hey, did you know that this exists? And often it's like, I know that feeling of like, no, I did not know that existed. How come I'm 35 years old and nobody's told me this existed? And so it's like, literally, I'm not doing anyone a service by keeping my mouth shut. Like, I'm so incredibly grateful for the people who have been like, even with products, like, hey, did you know that this product existed? And I've never been one to be like, are you trying to sell me something? It's literally like, there's something that can help my life. I am so grateful that you're willing to speak up for that. And so I try to carry that that mindset, over to other things that I'm doing. And I think, with I don't think I mentioned that I'm launching a ebook very, very soon that I'm really excited about. And I'm putting a launch team together because I really love that that teamwork atmosphere and that idea of everybody coming together and enhancing each other's lives and doing that through networking. And like you said, we don't have everything. So like, I don't make supplements. I don't make essential oils. I don't make sound frequency healing. But I know somebody that does, and I can connect you with them, and that is going to change your life. And that makes my heart feel happy. That makes me feel good. That makes me go to bed at night like, yes. And it makes me wake up in the morning like, okay, what kind of matchmaking can I do today? Like
That matchmaker of like resources.
Yeah, like the matchmaker of resources. I have a few ideas I'm floating around with in my mind for matchmaking membership sites, kind of like a match mama type thing for moms that are like, need this, because I hear that so much. Our tribe is like 1.3 thousand now. So we have quite a few moms. And so it's like, I hear this mom over here that's like, oh, I need this. And I hear this mom over here like, hey, does anybody know who needs this? I have this. And it's like, yeah, I do. And so having, a space to be able to connect would be really fun too. But, right now I'm just following that calling of my heart. I really like how you said, I'm totally going to botch how you said it, but something about letting God kind of guide where that's going and not coming in like, hey, I have an agenda, but like, okay, God, let's co-create together. What's my next step? And so I think that's why I'm really excited about the next steps that I see, because I know that if my heart is excited about it, like that's there for a reason. And I think that God's heart is excited about that. And if I choose to draw that energy off of the universe and the support system that I've built that carried me during my darkest days, then we can do some epic stuff. And that to me is what this upcoming book is about, Fill Your Bucket. It's that idea that if you care for your own wellness, first, and not saying like I'm more important, but like I have a personal responsibility to my children, to my husband, to these people that I committed to. I have a personal responsibility to take care of myself so that I don't die young or end up in the hospital because my immune system sucks, or break bones because my bones are so brittle. Like there's so many things that your body needs in order to function properly and be the most rock star, badass version of yourself. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on this podcast, but that you can be. And that starts with like doing the things for you, and you can't fake that. Like you can only like authentically walk through that, painful and all. Sometimes that requires like taking time off from other things and just having a period of healing. And I think that's what 2020 was for me, was really a time of healing. Those were my intention. One of my intention words was healing. And I really felt that God brought and orchestrated so much of that for me just because I set that intention. And so, the intention with Fill Your Bucket is to really reach those moms that are either too busy or have limiting beliefs that they deserve wellness. Like it seems like a simple concept for all of us to be like, oh yeah, of course we deserve self-care. But if you are struggling with some kind of intense mom guilt, like I was struggling with intense guilt over my baby being born in the NICU. And it was like, I didn't grow him properly. And I did this before I was pregnant. And, I took this medication while I was pregnant. And the guilt was almost like, Christina, you don't deserve to care for yourself. And so it's almost like you have to hit that mindset piece with moms to realize that like, you are not being selfish by taking care of your own wellness, by paying for supplements, by buying oils, by getting a life coach. Like, those are not selfish acts. That is your responsibility to your family, to get over your crap from your past so that you can help guide them to be who they need to be in the future. And that creates a ripple impact that will affect millions. It'll affect the entire future and all of our generations.
Yeah. Whoa, that is so good.
My daughter is growing into a person, and whether she talks to me about somebody that bullied her or talks to me about her anxiety or depression depends on how I relate to her. And if I'm crying or I'm crabby or I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, like, she's going to go at that alone, or she's going to turn to a group of friends that are not the people that I want raising her. Same with all three of my boys. And so it's like, it's easy to say like, oh yeah, you have to be your best version of yourself in order to raise good kids. But like, why? Let's look at the step-by-step of this. What does your life look like day in and day out if you are depressed and anxious and miserable? What are your kids learning from that behavior? And what are your kids learning from you if you are choosing not to care for your wellness? Like, they're growing up to be people, and you have a responsibility to not raise them how I think you should, but by your own measurement, of what you want for your life. And that means allowing yourself to be that support for that.
Oh, that's so, I mean, just you hit so many things. And I think the best out of all that, or kind of encompasses everything you said, was setting that intention. No matter what it is you're wanting to do, whether you're needing to go through that healing phase, whether you're in now a growth stage, you need to set intentions for each of those seasons and then get an alignment, and then you can really move forward. So I love that you said that, and choosing, like, the power, like, we have a choice. And that's why I think God delights in us, like, and he delights in what we're doing. And like you said, wants us to co-create with him. So I think definitely, like, listen to your spirit, pay attention to how you're feeling about around things, and then make the choices to, okay, what do I need to do in order to get, to that next step? And so, man, you just said so many good things. So I think people need to like rewind and go back and just re-listen to that segment again, because it was just really impactful and powerful. And I think so many people will relate to that, and it'll be like a good wake-up call for maybe someone who has been feeling just so down or has allowed themselves to, like, and sometimes that happens, right? We can just, without realizing, we just get into this like almost stuck phase of feeling miserable or not taking care of ourselves. And it's just like a vicious cycle. And so now we can really set that intention, make a choice, and then act on that and really start making a difference. And starts with yourself and how it impacts your family, and then how you can impact other people. So I know you're going to be making, and already are, like, making global, like, a global impact for people, and other moms and women. So I love it. I love your story. And I'm thankful that you shared that with us, because I know that, those are hard subjects sometimes, to be able to talk about. So I appreciate you being willing to speak your own truth and share that and open up about it. Because like I said, I really feel like a lot of people will resonate and take a lot from that. So is there any other things that you would want to leave with women listening right now, other mompreneurs that we have on the are listening to the podcast? Like, what would you want to say to them, or any lessons learned that you think that would be powerful for them to take away?
I would say the biggest takeaway that I want moms to hear is that no matter what your circumstances have been or are right now, or what PTSD you're struggling with today because of something that happened years ago, or perhaps your life is like super peachy and you struggle with guilt because you haven't had a bunch of crap go down, like, wherever you're kind of at in that journey, giving yourself or finding somebody who can give you permission to say it's okay to be exactly where you are, but it's also okay to want more. And I feel like I hear a lot of the moms in my tribe so often just have kind of accepted that this is life, like, well, there's no other option. This is life, that I'm working from sun up to sundown with my kids, and that I have to be exhausted, and that I have to be depressed, and I have to be anxious, and I just have to keep climbing and keep grinding until I get to this top of the mountain, right? And to me, I really want to kind of raise awareness that there is hope for change and transformation that your life can look entirely different 6 months from now or 6 days from now if you take that action, even messy action, even ignorant action, and can move forward with whatever it is that you want to do. Then you can not just grind through up to the top of the mountain and then finally I've arrived, but like enjoy the journey. And as you walk through, pick up resources here and there and stop and see the beauty and reach back and offer somebody else the lifeline that needs it. And that it's okay to be exactly where you're at, but it's also okay to want more and to give yourself the permission to almost switch gears in your mind so that it's not a selfish act to ask, can I spend money on this to your husband, or can I buy this for myself? Switching to, this is what's necessary in order for me to be the healthiest version of me. So what are we going to do to make this happen? I actually have an awesome story I'd like to end with. Okay. So there is a mom in my tribe, and one of the many things that I connect people with, companies I'm partnered with, like I mentioned before, is Mari. And we have a kids line, and she really wanted these products, but she legitimately could not afford it. She was like, I don't know where food is going to come from. I don't know where gas money is going to come from. Like, X amount of money for these supplements that I want for my kids, which are necessary. I absolutely positively believe that it would be good, but that doesn't mean I can just like make money up here out of nowhere. And I was like, that's a limiting belief. Yes, you can. And she was like, wait, what? And so I said, I'm not huge into manifesting. I don't know all about the sun and the moon and where Mercury and Venus are, but I do know that if you have a chat with God about what it is that you are desiring, what it is that you want, and you ask, some people call it prayer, some people call it manifestation, whatever you want to call it. If you, call that out to as a desire of yours, you literally can bring that into existence. So saying like, oh, I can't just like blink money into air. No, you can't blink money into the air, but you can manifest the things that you want into your life. You can create the things that you want by the way that you engage with people and by the things that you put out there. So long story short, I told her I would manifest with her. And we wanted $150. That's how much we wanted, including shipping, for her to be able to get everything that she wanted. And so for a few weeks, we went back and forth. I wrote on her wall just a plain 150. That's it. That's what I put on her wall. She'd message me and write 150. Like, we just knew that it was something that we were throwing out there. And she messaged me just a few days ago and she said, manifestation done. Let's do this. And so that's a mom that I was able to connect with this product that said, thank you so much, because she's been wanting this for months. She's seen the value of it. And now she's experienced that piece where she was like, wait, what? I can manifest, I can, attract money. I can ask God and pray for it and it can be delivered to me. It went from like this limiting belief to, let's look at this another way and just test it out. Like, what's it going to hurt to try? And her mind was blown and my faith was strengthened. And here I am talking to you about it on a podcast. And so I hope that it encourages and strengthens other people who are listening to this as well.
It is interesting that you brought that up too, because I was actually like studying more, because I know there can be manifesting is sometimes like a taboo word, and for women of faith too, of like not wanting to get into and things like that. And really, like you said, I love it. It was like, no, like it literally says in scripture, like we can go and ask. And if it's in alignment with his will and what he has for you, then it can be done. If you ask with belief, then you can receive that and do it without doubting and being able to, like we're one with the Spirit. So if we work in coordinates with Christ, like there's so much that we can actually do and that can be achieved through him and his power. So I think that's awesome that you have that story, and just that, and like you said, it goes back to that power of intention, and what you're seeking out. So
mindset, it doesn't have to be a grind to the top. It can be an elevation to an amazing view, like Your journey can be whatever you want to make it. You are not a victim to your circumstances.
That's so good. You guys should write that down. Not a grind to the top, but an elevation to a view. That's so good. And I also just love too how you went about this conversation with a potential client. It wasn't you just being about selling to her or here's the product and she says, oh, sorry, I don't have the money for it. Like you actually still continue to work with her and to help provide a solution for her and elevated herself spiritually, And so that's what we got to think about too. And like, we're here to build relationships and to really help solve a problem for people. And so sometimes it's going to be out through your products or through your opportunity, or it might be through a service you have, or through you being able to actually mentor them through that stage or through those steps of how can they get what they want. If they want to be a part of your team, okay, well, mentor them and show them what that's going to look like and help them get to that stage to where they can say, okay, I'm ready to go. Or the same, like what you just did as her being able to just be a customer. So yeah, I think that's so good. So many just great nuggets for everybody through this podcast. And I know if they want to, people I'm sure are going to want to connect with you. So what are some of the best ways that they can connect with you or get and be a part of your tribe?
Sure. So I am on Facebook. Is a pretty quick way to get a hold of me through my tribe or through Messenger. And so that is at Mom on the Climb or Mom on the Climb Tribe. You can also email me if you're not on Facebook. I know a lot of people aren't on that platform. You can email me at cbr@therippleimpact.net. My website, therippleimpact.net, is currently under construction. I have somebody working on it. I'm so excited about all the things that are going to take place in there, and book launches that will happen from there. I've got some NICU survival courses that are kind of in my brain, and content is written, and those are happening, which makes me really excited to be able to reach those moms that are still there. Because when I first was getting into the business, I was like, I can't niche down, like I don't want to niche down. And somebody said, well, who is it that you want to help the most? Like, where is your heart? And I'm like, well, my heart is with all moms that are going on uphill climbs, because I've been there and it's hard, but man, my heart for those NICU mamas, like there's no words, for how much I want to offer them support. And so I'm really excited to be able to throw out some content, some stuff that can just be evergreen and out there that will outlast me in my days. And that's partially, the urgency, it's like, if I die tomorrow, I want moms to have this knowledge from this 601 day hospital journey line. And that's what matters, is passing on what we've learned and using that to strengthen other people. So the Ripple Impact or Mom on the Climb.
Yeah, love it. And I do believe like you are going to, that ripple impact is going to happen. And I do believe that you're going to be able to serve both women on and offline, and that mission will just continue to thrive. And especially as you continue to grow your tribe. So, and with just being able to collaborate with others. I love that. That's something I'm super passionate about. So thank you so much. I hope that we'll definitely have, be staying in touch for sure. But thank you so much for being on this episode. And you guys, I will have all those links in the show notes. So make sure you can go click on them there, and so you can easily find her. So thank you so much, Christina, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Natalie.
Rise Your Purpose will be a weekly podcast. Our hope is to inspire and educate you on your entrepreneurial journey to help you fuel your passions, live your purpose, and build a business that works for you. You can subscribe, rate, and comment on any podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. It makes us so happy to see you tuning in to the show. So if you're on Instagram, let us know what your favorite part of the show was by taking a screenshot of the episode you tuned into and tag us at Live Victorious on your story. Let us know what your favorite quote or takeaway from the episode was, so that we can be inspired to keep creating content like this for you. To learn more about us and get involved with our community of mission-driven entrepreneurs, join our Facebook group, Purpose Partners, where we partner together in faith and business. So until next time, build a business that works for you and stay in alignment with your mission.